Welcome to the Offensively Simple podcast. I'm your host, Barbie Carr, lead homeopath for Imago Dei Homeopathy. Join me as we demystify homeopathy by unpacking its heart. Real stories from people seeing the depths of what homeopathy was designed to bring. Healing that spans body, soul, and spirit and is truly redemptive. All right. So today on the Offensively Simple podcast, I have another dear friend and client and mom of many on here. Her name is Sara Morman, and I am just so excited for you all to hear her story and how homeopathy has impacted her family and just really equipped her in her motherhood. So Sara, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Barbie. I'm new, so it's kind of it's a blessing and a surprise to be on because we have not been doing this for very long.
True, yeah.
I do feel really new. I don't think it hasn't even been, it's almost a year for me.
Yes, I agree.
But not for everybody else. Everybody else is being treated, but we've got 5 kiddos and my husband, and we're all clients of Barbie's now. Age range from 13 to 2. And we are transitioning. We're kind of in the middle of an intense thing. We're transitioning to try to homestead on 50-acre sheep farm, which is part of our mission in raising our family, where we can grow and heal and thrive as sustainably as possible, and working outside and making our own food and growing our own food and being outside. I keep saying being outside, but it's such a big deal to me, and it's such a big deal to us and for my kids. And so it's a big part of our vision.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we're in the middle of doing right now.
Yeah. Such an exciting journey you're on. I love getting to hear little bits and pieces of it here and there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, like, what is your background in natural health, taking care of your family's issues? Obviously, you have a heart for, sustainability and, you don't shy away from hard work. So tell us kind of where you are in that realm.
Well, I was not raised holistically at all. Very traditional American medicine and diet, and I had a lot of issues even as a child as a result of that. So when I got out and got to college is when I began being more aware of needing to take care of my whole body, and having the freedom to ask the questions that had always been on my heart, like, why am I ignoring this, or why do we just I came from just pop some Advil,
Totally.
Why do
me
we
too.
do that?
That was that was where I came from.
Right?
I hear you.
And this doesn't make me feel good. And so, I started to do more of that myself, but it's been a long road. So I guess I would say because I'm 44. So I guess I would say the last, 20 years of my life has been spent getting to know my body and myself and figuring out how to get back to wholeness, both in every way, like spiritually and physically and mentally and all of it. So it wasn't until I got really sick with what was probably, I don't even know now what it was. It was probably a number of things. I think it was probably some psychological issues that were coming to the forefront, and my body was trying to heal them. It may have been Lyme. There were some co-infections, parasite things, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a lot of stuff, but it just really kind of really hit the fan for me. And I was really, really sick. And that I did deal with that because I didn't know any different then, and I didn't have any support. I would not have dealt with it now the way I dealt with it then.
Sure.
At all. But I did take kind of a traditional medical route almost in some ways with that. But when I was recovering from that, I went to a naturopath, and that's where I really started working on my diet even more. And it kind of snowballed from there, because then when I finally did get pregnant with Joanna, we've had a lot of miscarriages, and I mean, there was a result of there's 1,000 reasons behind that. Too, but it was really a catalyst. I kind of started purging all the toxins from my home. I stopped using scented candles. I stopped using lotions and perfumes, and, I just switched all of that. I started using, I think I'd been using better cleaning products for a while, but it was like, it just kind of all snowballed from that. And then it led to like now. So in the last 13 years, now I make all of our food from scratch, pretty much entirely. I make bread for my family on a weekly basis. I encapsulate our own like supplements and wild
Mm-hmm.
crafty herbs and mushrooms, and I make my own tinctures. I've been doing that for several years. And so it just has been this, and one of the things that's so exciting about homeopathy that Heather mentioned on the last podcast is
Yeah.
that I can actually afford to do it with a big family.
Mm.
That was one of the roadblocks that I was running into, is that not only do I not have enough time really to be making all of this stuff for everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
but I can't afford it even if I am making it on my own,
For real.
and
Totally.
I wasn't getting anywhere, right? Oh, and that comes in later, like what led us to, so I guess I'm answering the next
Go
question,
for it.
like
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
led us to homeopathy kind of goes into that. But one thing I wanted to say before I got to that, because, and I might be being a little bit circulatory, so if I am, just stop me. But
Oh, no
I was
worries.
thinking about, what I'm working through right now, one of the things was just coming back to unity with my husband, and really examining the things that are that we need to be working through right now, because we've been through some really intense stuff in the last 5 years, and it's brought up a lot of stuff for both of us. And what the Lord brought to my mind was, I don't know exactly when this was, but I think I was pregnant with Joanna. So we're talking at least like 14 years ago, right? And
Mm-hmm.
was going through a lot of stuff with my family, kind of really leaving my family of origin. And I had drawn a tree on a piece of paper. I know this is so random. And
Mm-hmm.
Tim had found it and thought it was really pretty. And he just wrote down Isaiah 61 on
Wow.
but a special part of it, just verse 4. They shall build up the ancient ruins. They shall raise up the former devastations. They shall repair the ruined cities, the devastations of many generations.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have it anymore because it got destroyed by mold, which we're going to talk about in like
Oh.
2 seconds. But like, it really felt prophetic to me.
Yeah.
And I still feel like it was prophetic. And I still feel like that's why the Lord put me and Tim together, that
Mm-hmm.
somehow he has a plan. We both come from very broken backgrounds on every level, actually, and physical, mental, spiritual, like the whole gamut. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he's wanting to show what he can do with that.
Come on. Yes. Yeah.
And like, so that's where the unity is. It's like, okay, I'm going to stick through this because this person also believes this. This is what we believed way back when we got married. And now we're
Yeah.
having to live it out, and it's really painful, but
Yeah.
like something good is coming, right?
Totally.
So I wanted to say that at the beginning because I think it really fits with why homeopathy works for us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things that has struck me about it is that I really feel like you have to be ready for it. Okay.
Wow.
This
Yeah.
feels so different to me than any of the other things that I've done, that I feel like you have to be ready. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that it's not something that somebody can say, even when somebody's saying it. And, and I think that something spiritually like that are like that, right, Barbie? Like
Oh, for
sometimes
sure.
somebody's like, oh, the Lord showed me this, or the Lord did me this. And their person's like, yeah, okay, cool. But they're
Right.
not,
Yeah.
right. They're not there yet. They're not ready.
Yep.
So what led us to homeopathy? It was a dead end. Like the
Mm.
last place that we lived was severely, severely infested with mold,
Mm.
and a very toxic mold. And we didn't know it until we'd been there for a year and a half, and
Oh,
had a
wow.
baby there,
Oh.
and like conceived and had a baby there. And because I birth all my babies at home, and the last
Mm-hmm.
ones have all been, after Joanna, they've all been free births. And so I barely made it through his birth, and we didn't know why. Like
Wow.
we were so sick. Like that baby was born and coughed. That was the first thing he did, like a smoker's cough,
Wow.
like he was like 60. It was so scary. And we didn't know. And we were doing everything. Like I was supplementing with all sorts of stuff and barely keeping us alive, honestly. And I feel like he really just delivered us from that. When we finally figured out it was the mold, we got out. But then we hit a dead end because I found a functional medicinal person who tested me, right, and tested my blood, and I had really high levels of this toxin.
Mm-hmm.
And but you can't detox from it if you're nursing a baby, because
Yeah.
this particular toxin will leak into the breast milk. So that meant herbs were out. That even meant essential oils were out, because essential oils will often cause the detox, that
Yeah.
would go
Draw
into
them
the breast
out.
milk,
Yep.
right? Draw it
Yep.
out. So I was like, but I can't stop nursing an infant, and I don't want to stop nursing. I nurse big people, so I was like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
big people, but I nursed them for a long time. Like, I'm
Yep.
not going to stop right now, but I have to get better, because I was really, really sick.
Mm-hmm.
This was affecting us on every level, mentally. I mean, it was just
Oh,
bad.
absolutely. Mama
It
that
was
doesn't
really
feel
bad.
good, the whole family isn't doing
No, I
well.
mean, it was bad. And and
Yeah.
and I feel like the Lord closed several doors. Honestly, like that one functional medicinal person totally ghosted me. I reached out
Mm.
to several. I've never had anything like this happen in all my
Wow.
years. Several naturopaths, their businesses were closed when I reached out to them. They weren't taking any new patients. One
Wow.
lady talked to me for a little bit, and then she also ghosted me. Like, I've never had anything like that. It
Weird.
was just like door
Wow.
and door and door. And so I was like, okay, Lord, what's like, where do I go? What
Uh-huh.
do I do? And then I took, I mean, this is so circuitous how I found you. We'd started the kids on brain balance. My 3 oldest are on the spectrum. And it was to the point that I couldn't do school with them anymore. And I knew it wasn't just, well, I was realizing I hadn't really been doing school. No one was with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just the mold. It was deeper than that.
For
And
sure.
we'd had them evaluated, like in November before, like right after we moved out. And they were all like, so they were 12 and 7 and 5, but they were at ages 2 and 3
Yeah.
and 4. Like, they were
Wow.
very far behind in everything. And so we started Brain Balance in February. The lady who took our case for Brain Balance was also a Splunkna practitioner. Okay, so
Mm.
this is how I'm going to find you. And of
Yeah.
course, my husband and I have been in healing prayer and listening prayer for over a decade, since Joanna. So I was very curious about something that bypassed the left brain and went straight to the right brain and got the stuff out of your body, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I started researching Splunkna and was looking for someone who would work with me financially. And I found Peyton Kraft. And
Yeah.
you had done a podcast with Peyton.
Yes, I
And
did.
that's how I found you. So I had listened to that podcast, listening about Peyton, heard you, looked you up, and scheduled the call. And
That's incredible. And you know what's
I
even,
mean, it's
I
like,
don't know if you knew this, Sarah, but one of my daughters did brain balance as well. So,
I
like,
think you
I'm
had told me when
very
I called you. I
familiar.
was like, did
Yeah.
this go together?
That's so wild. Yeah.
And it's so crazy because, I mean, it's just the Lord. He showed me like this multifaceted approach, right? So
Yeah.
brain balance did help my kids tremendously. We don't have dyslexia anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is able to catch up. Everybody's learning, remembering things from day to day, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the full piece. I'm still doing healing prayer on them. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know more about Splunk. I'm using what I'm learning, but they were missing something. And it was homeopathy. It was constitutional homeopathy.
Mm.
And like, honestly, it's changed it has literally changed our life. I mean, we would, even with having done brain balance, I wouldn't be able to do school, especially with 2 of mine.
So
School
share a
would
little
not
bit,
be
like,
happening.
what particular, because there's lots of mamas out there that have,
Right.
I've worked with lots of kids on the spectrum, even before I was a homeopath. Like, I was a para
Mm-hmm.
educational helper, to one in particular. And then I work with lots of kids on the spectrum. But for mamas that are,
Right.
wanting the help you've gotten, how has it, like, helped you do school? How has it helped your family function?
Well, I can live with my children now. Like, I mean, on a
Yeah,
daily basis, and we can like do things. I mean, it was that bad, Barbie. Like,
sure.
I have one especially that was always like that, and the other one that I don't know if it just is now coming out,
Mhm.
or if this is a generational thing that they go through at about this age, because it's about that age. She's about that
Mhm.
age when it happened for my other one, but very very argumentative, very defiant, very
Mhm.
resistant, manipulative, dissatisfied, discontent, like nothing. We just can't sit down and do the work,
To the
any work.
extreme, right? Not
To
not
the
your
extreme.
not the normal kid. I don't want to, but I
I
will.
mean,
It's
I was
like,
a
I'm
teacher
not gonna.
I have a master's degree in leadership and teaching. I taught
Yeah.
Latin and French and coached drama for kids for over a decade. And
Yeah.
no, this is not normal. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know how to work with hard kids, and this wasn't normal. I mean, we're talking like
Yeah.
throwing stuff and screaming and yelling and
Sure.
running away and slamming doors like nobody can learn in
Yeah.
this environment. And
For sure.
I give a dose to this particular person, and within 10 minutes, she's sitting down at the kitchen table and saying, okay, fine, I'll do my work. Could I have a couple of chocolate chips? And I'm like, sure,
No.
sweetie, here. And she'll do the whole thing. And we'll sit there and we'll work together and we'll get everything done. And she's not showing signs of dyslexia anymore. She's not
Oh
struggling anymore,
wow.
like
Come on.
academically from the brain balance, but that other stuff is still there,
Sure.
right? And
Right.
it's still getting worked out. And a couple of times I keep forgetting to dose her before she gets going,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
In the morning, and then I'm really in a pickle because then she doesn't want to take the dose, right?
Which usually, yes, I have that even in my family where it's like, it's so clear they need to take a dose. And so I have the
Right,
mom and practitioner where they're like, no, I don't need a dose. And finally, my
right.
oldest piped up the other night. She goes, that means you need the dose when you say you
That means
don't
you
need it. And
need
I
the
was like,
dose.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All right. Yeah. No,
Right.
I hear
And
you.
they're getting there. Like, that's another thing. Like, I think that in one of mine, distrust, I think, is part of her constitution. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And this has been, I'm seeing it. Like, when I was taking notes, I was just realizing that I'm starting to see that heal as like a side, not that it may be healing constitutionally from her remedy, but I actually think it's healing because she's seeing that I know. Like,
Yeah.
that what I was trying to do with my babies from the womb, know
Mm-hmm.
them, love them, see them, understand them, and help them. But she has distrusted probably from the womb.
Yeah.
um she's starting to see that, like, oh, wait, she loves me, she's helping me,
Wow.
and she's coming to me, and she'll also bring babies to me, bring the little ones to me and be like,
Oh.
mom, you got to dose her, or mom, I think she needs to be switched. It's kind of a joke between, because we're gentle parents, right?
Sure.
And the other day I'd said to one of them, if you keep up with that, I think I'm going to have to switch you. And my oldest burst into cackles, and she's like, mom, do you know what that would sound like to anybody else?
Oh, that's so funny. You're
And then
right. Yeah.
it was so funny. So it's a joke now in our family,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
someone's just off their rocker, that they're going to have to be switched, and all I do is go open the fridge, right? And I'm
Right.
like,
Switch the
okay,
remedy. Right. Yeah,
switch the
totally.
remedy.
Yeah.
Because we've
Yeah.
been dealing with so many acutes that it kind of has been like that, which
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
get to
tell.
because you wanted me to talk about the course. But
Yeah. Yeah. I want to hear too because you've had some amazing success in the acute realm. And like I mean, you got
right.
5 kids and you're
Yeah.
homeschool. Yeah. What? That's everyone
Well,
knows the storm that hits the house, right? When the
oh,
family
it's
gets sick.
crazy. Yeah. And this is this. So I don't understand everything. And I think that that's actually been healing for me because my
Mm,
personality really needs to know why, like all the time. I'm
sure.
asking why, I'm wanting to know why. Not that that's a bad thing, but this has been very much a paradigm shift for me, and kind of putting my money where my mouth is, because I really do believe in the innate wisdom of the body, that the Lord designed us to heal, and that everyone is doing their best with what they've got, right? I really
Yeah.
believe that. So it's made me have to really walk that out. And when I see my kids presenting with something, I see those symptoms now as communication, which is
Mm,
what they've always been. And
yes.
my job is to like listen and respond. And I don't have to know why. Like,
Come on.
I
Tell
don't
us a
have to
little
know.
bit about that because I talk a lot about that, especially with mamas, or anybody
Right,
really who has had any history with chronic illness. I really feel like
right.
that's what the system has trained us to do, which is
Yes.
like you have to know the why, you have to have a
You
name
have to
for
know
it.
why.
There's
And it
power
has to
in
work. And
names.
right.
Yes.
And my husband will still say to me sometimes, because he's still working on this, and he'll still say to me, what is this for?
Yeah.
And I am just now developing the answer. Like the last time he asked me, the answer finally came out, and I said, your body knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, your body will handle it. Your body knows what this is for.
Yep.
That's not my job. I
And how
have to
freeing
know.
is that, right?
It's
How
so freeing,
freeing.
but this
Yeah.
is what you're showing me that you need.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving it to you, right? And so, okay, that looks like, I'll give you a really good example of what that looked like, because it didn't make sense to me. I still
Mm-mm.
don't know why it was the remedy that he needed.
Sure.
my little baby. So he's not talking to me. Well, actually, he talks really, really a lot. And we
Yeah.
have to understand him. But something happened. This wasn't even one of our normal acutes. I don't know what happened, but he was the picture of aconite. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I could feel the fear. Like the way that he crawled in my arms and was like crying, like he
Yeah.
was terrified. And then he fit like several of the other things on it. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but
Sure.
he took aconite for like a week and then he cleared it and went back to his teething stuff. And I don't know what was going on.
Come on.
But that's what he was asking for. That's what he was showing me. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the absolute thing that he needed. And it went like I saw a clear improvement. And then I saw when he needed it again. Like he
That's
got that
awesome.
fearful crying and came over. And so with each of my kids, well, here's why I think that this is why I've kind of latched onto the course. So one thing that I really, really appreciate about the course
Mm-hmm.
and really appreciate about you, and this has just kind of been my personality too. Like if I find something that is working for my kids or that my kids need, I always kind of take over and just try to do it myself. And
Sure.
sometimes that's been looked at as like a bad thing. Kind of like I'm stealing from the practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
CST is a great example, cranial sacral therapy. I
Mm-hmm.
was being trained to be a massage therapist, but then 2020 happened and I refused to get a vaccine, so I couldn't finish. And
Sure.
so I never got to do the training that I wanted to do for CST, but I had all the books and I was learning it and I'd been with my babies getting it for years and years. And so I just started doing it
Mm-hmm.
and I do it on my kids and I do it on other people's kids who can't afford to take them to somebody or,
Mm-hmm.
don't know where somebody is. And so things like that. But then it's often like I would feel ashamed that I was trying to help my kids,
Sure.
on
Absolutely.
my
Yeah.
own. And that's been one of the things that's been so powerful and so empowering about the course and in talking to you about it is that you're like, great job. When I'm like, I really think it was this and I saw this improvement. You're like, yeah, that's great. Or that's what I would try, or it
Yeah.
made me feel really good. To have the encouragement that like, yes, this is really what you're supposed to do. Like you are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be taking care of your family and
Yes.
you are supposed to be able to give them what they need. And you're supposed to be, I don't know, there's this book. I don't know why this just came to my mind because it wasn't in my notes, but this book called Woman is Healer. And there's
Mm.
a huge tradition of the women being the ones that brought this to their families. Like we
Yes.
used to know
Yes.
this. We used to do this. We
And
used to help
how
each other have their
beautiful is
babies.
it if you're thinking about like, because that Isaiah 61 verse is such a prominent one in my family as well. But if we're trying to restore the generations and the things that are broken, we need those strong matriarchs that are passing on these things that are just, they've been outsourced to this system and this place and that
Mm-hmm.
place. So my heart is to like, let's empower the mamas again. Like, let's take
Right.
back what
Exactly.
never should have really been outsourced and help whole families
No.
heal. So that's awesome
Yeah.
that you see
We
that.
should
Yeah.
have never outsourced this. We used to know this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
CST is the laying on of hands for Pete's sakes. Like
Yes. Yes.
every mama can do that. I mean, it's
Yes.
not like you're just listening. It's the same thing as homeopathy, really. You're listening to the body
Yep.
and you are supporting it to go to that spot and work on it, release it, let it
Absolutely.
go. Tell me about it. Like it's very, and that's what I always say, like, tell me what happened, like
Yeah.
tell me about it. And then you just sit there and you wait. And that's what they're showing me in this. It's the same thing, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, but it's been really nice to not feel like I'm stealing,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
to feel like that I'm being encouraged to take this back and to do this. And frankly, you need it because like you say all the time, like you said with Heather, they don't get sick at 8 o'clock in the morning on
No.
Monday,
Nope. They do not.
ever.
No.
Nobody does that. And so it's been really, really great. And we've had a lot of acutes that have come through here. That's probably been the biggest thing because we're still working on the constitutional stuff,
Yeah.
outside of my seasonal allergies that went away as close to immediately as I think you can call anything. Um,
Yeah.
you know, outside of that, we're still working on all of our other like chronic issues because we haven't been doing this for very long. And
Sure.
a lot of acutes have jumped into it. But it's just been, I love it. I love being able to intimately watch them and help them. I feel like that I've always done that, but it used to be with anxiety
Mm,
because I couldn't fix it. I didn't know what they needed.
yeah.
I didn't have an answer, or the answers that I had, they didn't, go to the whole depth of it. And now it's like, so I can watch for, like the things that I watch for with them. Because I have some that don't, that like having a body to them is a side note. I have one
Yes.
in particular. She's
Yes.
just like, she's not here, and
Yeah.
I relate to that very much. And she's like, I'm like, how are you feeling? Can you tell me? She's like, Mom, I always feel fine for a couple of minutes. I mean, she's just so not helpful, right? And
Right.
at all. And I'm like, how do you feel? And she looks at me and it's like crickets. And so
Yeah.
I have another one who has just latched onto this, and she'll walk straight up to me and say, Mama, I have a sore throat. It started on the right. I want cold drinks. And I'm like, sweet, let's say
That's
this, and
so
we're on it, right?
helpful.
And she's
Yes.
awesome. Like she has nailed it every single time. She's given me what I need
That's
to
awesome.
and she's the one who can't do school without her remedy, right? But she's
Yeah.
on this, and when she has an acute, she knows, and she does great, and knows right when she needs a dose. But I'm learning each of them, and I can usually see it in their eyes,
Hmm.
like their eyes will lighten up or their eyes will brighten up. One of mine will start singing again.
Hmm.
Another one will come up and hug me and say, I love you, Mama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they'll all have their little, like, so as an encouraging thing, like, it will come. It will really come, and it will be this sweet, intimate um kind of relationship. It's almost like a secret because they don't
Mm.
even really know that they're doing it.
Right.
They're
Right.
they're not aware of the signals that they're giving me. And I love that because
Yeah.
I can be I can be helping them, I can
Yeah.
be in touch with where they are, and not have to necessarily um know everything,
Well, I
and
love that you shared that because, that's my heart behind making the course and why I even called it what I did, cultivating a heritage of health, because I'm like,
right.
these kids can get this. And that was
Mm-hmm.
when I started way, way, way back treating acutes just for my own family and trying to learn the ropes. One of the biggest things I noticed was before that point, fear, like anytime a sore throat
Yeah.
or a sniffle came, the kids would be afraid because I
Uh-huh.
would get afraid because I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. And I was
Right.
frustrated because I knew that there were things I could do, but where can I find it? And so when I created this course, it had the mom in mind. Like, what do I wish I would have had?
Yeah.
That would give me the confidence. So if a sore throat came up, I didn't have to be afraid. And when I started to see the fear leave my kids, and I started to see us still thriving even in the midst of sickness, right? And kids starting to
Right.
come up and tell me exactly like you said, Mom, my throat
Right.
feels better with cold and all of this. It was like
Uh-huh.
this light bulb went off, and I was like, other moms need to know that it's not just about equipping them and giving them the confidence and being the gatekeepers as far as fear in the home or not, but it's also like these kids are going to grow up knowing and having confidence in their bodies that I
Yeah.
don't have to be afraid of symptoms. They're just talking to me and I need to know what to do. And so
What to do.
that's my
This is
heart with that
and it's
course.
the words that we want to teach them anyway. Like, this is emotional intelligence too.
Yes,
Like the
yes.
2-year-old will say to me, "I'm sad, mad."
Oh, good.
He
Wow.
needs to
Yeah.
go to Camellia when he's been on pulsatilla.
Yeah.
Like, he knows, and he'll say, "I'm sad," and I'm saying, "Sad, mad, or do you want me to hold you sad?" And he's like, "Sad, mad." And so, like, so we're, this is really important stuff, and
Yes.
it's not, and I think that's another, the buzzword of holistic, but it really is, because we've shut that off in our culture. I was
Totally.
just talking to a mama the other day, and I don't share this like I've shared other things, because I really think people have to be ready. But when people ask me, then I'm telling them. And like, someone was saying to me, I want cold drinks, although I know I should be drinking warm. And I said, no, if you want cold drinks, there's a
Yes.
reason.
Come
And
on.
that's
Yes.
important. Is like, you may be sick, but there's a reason that you want this. And so they're learning this. And another funny one that happened in this acute, um, one of mine. Okay, so we've had 2 bouts of acutes like right on top of each other. Everybody
Mm,
has around here, and people have been like out on the couch, like
mm.
really sick. We've still done school.
Come
We've
on.
still kept our engagements. I've still been able to pray with people. Like if I wasn't on homeopathy, we wouldn't be having this podcast right now, because I
Right.
know I'm not done with it yet. And I know I would feel too bad today to do it, but I'm okay. Like I'm
Right.
fine.
Because your
I'm functioning.
vitality is up,
My
right? Like,
vitality's okay.
yeah.
Right. And so, um, the first time we got it, I was able to catch it before people got really sick.
Oh, come on. That's
And they,
gold. That is
like, it was
gold.
just like everybody was switching, and everybody was kind of switching, and I got enough information from everyone to do them. And the one who doesn't, who doesn't have the body, who just
Mm-hmm.
tells me whatever, I thought I knew what she needed. And so I gave it to her. It was just intuition, because she
Mm-hmm.
gives me no information. And then later she came to me and she said, but actually I have a sore throat like the other one, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you
Okay.
for telling me. So I switched her,
Mm-hmm.
and the next morning she woke up looking like she was going to die. Her eyes were all
Oh,
red. Her nose was just horrible. And she said, I lied. I lied. Whatever you did the first time, it was right.
oh,
I
that's
don't have a
so.
sore throat.
She wanted to
Makes
be
me
like her brothers
mad.
and sisters.
It's
Oh,
so cute. And so that trust was there. And so she's like, I'll never lie to you again.
wow. Come on. Wow. Bless
And
her
she's just
heart.
6, right? She's just 6. She doesn't know. But it
Yeah.
was so cute. But she did know, because she was like, oh, I felt okay.
Yeah.
Mom gave me something. And
Yeah.
now I don't feel okay. Anyway, so we
That's
went back to
huge.
my original one, and she popped up and was fine within a couple minutes and was like going.
That's amazing. And
And
how long did it take you? Like, sometimes people can feel really intimidated by a course. Like, oh, I don't have time
right.
to go through that. Like, how quickly in like diving into this course? I mean, you're a homeschooling mom of 5. So, I mean,
Right.
I remember you like got this course and it was like, I think you guys got sick pretty quickly after it. And then I was
We
hearing
did.
from you that it was working and I was like, wow, that was really fast.
I
So
was
how
good. Okay, well,
user
I have kind of a
friendly?
secret hack that not everybody will have, that hopefully it's going to get healed by homeopathy. But I can't hear, right? I have really bad tinnitus, and so I have
Hmm.
hearing aids. And but the nice thing is that I can listen without
Mm.
anybody knowing I am. So my
Nice.
the way that I got through the course actually was put the red light on my phone at night so that I wasn't looking at the screen, and
Uh-huh.
I did like a section every night as I was nursing the baby to sleep. Um,
Ah, yeah.
that's how I got through it. So maybe not everybody can do that, but it wasn't really that bad. But even if you had headphones, you could do that.
Sure.
I just put a few minutes, or you could put it in on your headphones while you were doing dishes or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and finish it up. And I just did one section a day, because you're short. Like, you made them really short, and you made them like very digestible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think it's because I always do that, Barbie. Like, I always am looking at the things and I'm just diving in and trying it on my kids, because that's just what I do. So I don't
Sure.
think I felt that um in I don't think I felt that intimidation. I just
Mm-hmm.
started going for it. And it's so, like, the symptom sorters on there is so helpful.
Hmm.
That's where I
Good.
always start. Either mental one or physical one. I always start there. And there's a couple of them that I know now pretty
Sure.
well, and that
Yeah.
come up for us quite often. So those will pop into my head. But I still use that all the time.
That's
And
great.
then also the online one, because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I've needed more information, or I've needed more information on our constitutional, because my kids have pretty complicated cases. So there's not
Mm-hmm.
just one remedy that works for them. So after an acute, they may be going back and forth, and I might have both bottles poured up, and
Sure.
I'm just trying to see which one. And so if I can figure it out, then I figure it out. And then the nice thing too is that when I can't figure it out, like the earache that happened, right, with Leah,
Yes.
um, we were back and forth. Thankfully, that was in the middle of the day. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
And she's the one who I can't get any information out of her. And so we were going back and forth. And that was just awesome, because when I get stuck, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and we really did kind of figure that one out together, because she was like, one minute she said it was stinging, and then she said, no, it was. I mean, she was just all over the place,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
screaming. It was awful. And that happened to both of them. 2 nights later, it happened to Somi.
Oh,
Barbie, I don't know
wow.
if oh, I did. I sent you a Marco Polo at like 10:30 p.m. because I was like, I really think it's Cantharis, but I don't know. It
Yeah,
took me
but
in the
it
morning,
was, wasn't it? You
and it
nailed it
was.
all on your own.
It
Yeah.
totally was. And I just used the course to figure that out. I really
That's
did. I just
awesome.
looked at the symptoms, and actually my oldest, Joanna, is starting to help me with it. Like,
Oh, that's great.
it's been so, because she was trying to help me because they sleep in the same, we're in the
Mm-hmm.
campers, we're trying to get on there. So they sleep in the same bunk, in the same room. So for her to go to bed, we had to figure out what to do with the baby. And
Right.
so she was trying to help me. And it was great because I was asking the questions and Joanna was helping me answer them because Somi was out of her mind, And
Sure,
so
sure.
it was really, really great because we were working together. Tim actually commented on it later about how beautiful he thought it was, the way we were helping her. It was
Oh,
really
I love
interesting.
that.
It was a real, kind of turning point for our family because Joanna and I, like, it was catharsis because you even walked closer to her and she screamed louder, So
Wow.
we were like, but yet she was holding her ear. And
Mm-hmm.
then she wouldn't take anything to drink, nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, with a little Tylenol syringe, like shooting the remedies, like
Yeah.
in her mouth, like because nobody could get near her, like nobody could
Yeah.
get near her. She was flailing, but after we got the first, I think we dosed her. Joe's like, do you think we dosed her? And I'm like, I don't know. I hope we did. And let's
Yeah.
just wait and see. And Joe's like, well, now I got to be redosed because it was all over both of us, right? And
Right. Yep.
anyway, so we got it in her and we were just waiting, and then suddenly she's like, could I have some milk? And we were like, yes. And we
Wow.
got closer. She ate her whole snack, she had her milk, she did everything, and she was letting us rub her face. And we were like,
Wow.
oh, rubbing, that was our other confirmation because it felt better if we rubbed it,
Yep. Yep.
and she was still whimpering, but it was working. But then we forgot to ask her to go pee before she went to bed. And that's why you ended up with the email, because then she woke back up and nobody knew what was wrong. And it was crazy. But after we finally figured that out and got it was like a third dose in her, she slept all night and woke up fine. Like nothing
So
happened. The rest
beautiful.
of us were shell shocked, but she was okay.
Yeah. Right?
Everybody else was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really amazing. And it's been really neat to be able to see what's working with each of them, because I would have really been beside myself with that. I mean, I've made my
Sure.
own garlic mullein ear oil. Like I had that there, but that wasn't what, I mean, she needed more than that,
Yeah. Yeah. It was deeper than that. Yeah.
It was deeper than that. It really was. And this whole thing has been more complicated than that. So
But it's
yeah, and
beautiful that you're doing it alongside your constitutional, because the acutes really do powerful work in taking and resolving things constitutionally. So, and I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but when you resolve an acute and you go back to your constitutional, the responses are usually stronger and more, you feel more robust, because your body, it's like the acutes are kind of like really rapid downloads to your body as it's learning with homeopathy how to heal, and it
right.
affects the chronic picture very deeply.
And I think that's what that's what I'm really excited to see. I do feel stronger.
Hmm.
I have felt from the very beginning, I have felt stronger. And even Tim, who hasn't been on constitutional very long, this last time, after the first acute and then the second one, we didn't get it for the whole first week.
Wow.
I had a emotional shift that I didn't get right on top of right
Hmm.
away, but then when I figured it out, I went ahead and switched to what I needed for that acute wise, but I didn't have any symptoms until the next week. And then they were very, very slight. They weren't
Mm.
anything like that they had been the first time or with the kids. So I think that, and I'm sure that's because of working with the constitutional,
Sure, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
getting stronger and getting less where we're just totally taken out, which is such a blessing to me because I I have a lot of just in the last 5 years, a lot of trauma from being the only one. We don't have any family around here.
Hmm.
So, and Tim is also a firefighter amongst like other millions of other things. And
Yeah.
so he'll be gone for days at a time. And
Yeah.
it's just me. And I've been too sick to care for people sometimes, but doing it
Sure.
anyway. And so this has been feels like such a grace and such a gift to me because I'm taking care of everybody and I'm fine. Like I'm
That's
fine. I'm sick,
beautiful.
but I'm fine. The baby doesn't sleep and it's okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm functioning and they need me to be able to function.
Yeah.
And and I do think that it's healing. Like I in this acute, I needed to make a change, and I thought I needed to make a change, and I went ahead and made it. And then I caught myself laughing, which I don't usually laugh, which
Yeah.
is such a sad
Wow.
thing. Maybe that will come. But my kids I'm not usually known as the fun mom, right? I'm just
Sure.
very, very serious. But I caught myself laughing, and I was like, and it wasn't a snarky laugh, like it was like a real
Sure.
laugh. I was like, oh, I needed that. I'm on the right
Yeah.
track. Like I've got it. So that playfulness is coming back to me. And I'm noticing myself, like I'll just, dance silly with the kids, or I'll be laughing about something, or they'll comment on, like, I think somebody one time has called me fun mom. And so that's like
Mm.
a big badge
That is
because,
huge. And that is such a big piece of why I'm so passionate about like mamas going first, right? We got to get
mm-hmm,
mama feeling better first because you're just going to be
right,
able to help for so many reasons, help your kids even
right.
better. And I think you've really walked and experienced that out very beautifully. So
Thanks. And
what,
I needed that
yeah.
because I don't do that. That's not my default, right?
Right. I
And
remember talking
so
about that. I was like, trust me, trust me, trust me. You got to go
you were like,
first.
no, you need
Yeah.
to do this first. And I was like, but everybody else is so sick. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, but, that
Yeah.
whole like, put your oxygen mask on first, which I probably wouldn't do. Now I would, because I'm learning, right? That like,
Right.
oh, I
Yeah.
really can't help anybody if I have burned out, right?
Totally. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, and that's helped because a lot of that overwhelm, and I remember Heather saying this, like, and I don't have 8, I have 5, but there's still a lot,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
the way that our life is a lot, you know,
Yes.
and not having any family is a lot. And
Mhm.
so that that level of overwhelm has decreased significantly. It's
So
just
good.
I didn't know this was one thing that has really changed, and I missed it. I missed this in this last acute because I'm so used to, like, I didn't realize that I had I mean, it sounds funny to say it, but I had the right to feel well mentally and emotionally, that
That's
was like
huge. Yeah.
part of health, that was a symptom, that not that I was doing something wrong or wasn't like being a good Christian or getting my act together, but that was literally a sign that like my body needed something. It was
Absolutely. Yes.
me, and I was supposed to pay attention to that, not beat myself up about it, right? And so I'll often drift into that, like the depression will be coming on, which is a sign that I'm getting an acute or something's happening or I'm needing to change a dose, and I won't pay attention to it right away. I'm getting better, but I notice at this time that I put up with that, or I guess I shouldn't say put up with it, but ignored it as like
Mm.
a communication,
Yeah.
and then I took the right remedy and I was feeling good again. And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Mm.
Why did I just accept that as like or it's really not accepting it. It's just not listening, because that was communication from my body.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, so
But it was
it's been
familiar, right? I mean, I
right.
think
It was
that's our
familiar.
biggest enemy is the familiar, right?
Yep, it was familiar, and I'm used to that, and I just, it would just goes on the old track.
Yeah.
So that plus the kit, I think the course and then buying the kit,
Yeah.
was
Oh,
a big,
yeah, that was huge for you. And you have multiple kids. I mean, or
yeah,
even just multiple people in the family, though, but especially when there's little kids, having
little
that kit is
right.
invaluable.
It has been invaluable because we've needed so many crazy things on that, and
Yes.
and like you said, and that's the part that you don't really understand, is that everybody, um, the two babies have sometimes needed the same thing, but not the whole time or not the whole duration. Everybody's been on a different thing.
Absolutely. Yep.
With the acute, and you had told me that, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me, but it's exactly what's happening. It's exactly how they're presenting, and I don't need it to make sense. I just listen and then
Right.
respond, and
Yeah.
we
Well,
keep
because it's treating in the individual, it's treating the people, right? Not necessarily the
right,
individual issues. So, yeah, you can
right,
have, and that's the difference, and the medical world, they'll line you up and do the strep swabs, give everybody the same antibiotic, but you treat the same people with homeopathy, they'll all probably need a different remedy.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's been what's been so amazing, because I don't know, it's trusting. It's a different level of trust, and
Hmm.
it is a um yeah, I think it's been good. I think it is being still being good and still being healing for me. Of course, I still want to learn more, and I
Sure.
want
Yeah.
to understand the ins and outs of it. But I think it's been really beautiful for me to just say, I know the Lord led me to this,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful, and I'm trusting, and I'm just going to walk it out, because
Yeah.
the fruit is there, like it's
Yes. Fruit
totally,
doesn't lie. Fruit does
no,
not
it's not
lie.
lying.
Yes.
Like we're good. We're functioning, and we can afford to do it. And
Yeah.
everybody's not just like, and it's not just like the cold is better, but the
No. Yeah.
people are better. Like
Yes.
the people are more than, and in some of my kids, there's been so much stuff. I would even say probably in myself and in my
Mhm.
husband. Like, I'm not sure what the true person is going to look like,
Mhm.
because I don't think
Mhm.
that we've ever seen them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that we've ever really totally seen the true person. And so that's exciting,
Yes.
because it's also like, I don't feel, I remember reading somebody put on the course that they don't worry about their kids' health anymore. And I can completely second that. Like,
Mhm.
it just doesn't, I don't feel stressed about it. And I'm noticing, it was a good point that you made, that the fear isn't there. My kids aren't stressed. I did have
Yep.
one of mine used to be terrified whenever she got a sore throat, like,
Yeah.
because it really bothered her. It was like her kryptonite. And they all had something that was like stuffy nose, would, like,
Yes.
they
Yes.
couldn't handle it. One kid, it was stuffy nose. One kid, it was sore throat, and they just wouldn't ever sleep or anything.
Yep. Yep.
And now they're not scared. Now they just come up and to me and they're like, stuffy nose, or,
Yeah. Yeah.
she tells me exactly where her throat is. And, I had broth going, and everybody's just been drinking broth and doing life
That's
and
so
taking
beautiful.
their remedy and going to bed, with their little bottle of remedy, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, everybody ready to dose overnight if they need it. And so they had it right there, and, it worked. It worked beautifully, and everybody got through and is getting through. And it's, I feel very thankful, and I do feel like the Lord led it, and he also did so many miracles to help me even be able to afford how affordable it is. I couldn't even do that. And
Mhm.
there's been so many times in this journey in this last year where he's like given me the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just somehow given it to me, like right when I needed it, Um,
Yeah.
like, that kit is a really good example. Remember, you were like,
Yeah.
I'm going to order the kits this week. And I was like, okay. And literally, I didn't have the money. And I was sitting down on the couch to pray for it. And somebody from our church knocked on the door and was like, we were just going through our change thing and decided we wanted to give you guys some money to help you get on the farm. And
So
we were like,
amazing.
and Tim was like, here, how about you get your kit with part of this? And I was just like bawling, and,
So good.
I mean, it was like that night, and so I really feel like, well, I do think you have to be ready. This was the other thing I was going to say. Well, I do think you have to be ready for it, because it is a paradigm shift, and
Mhm.
it can feel overwhelming, especially if you've got a lot of kiddos,
Yeah.
as you're trying to learn how to do this, right? And learn how
Yes.
to switch and learn how to read their symptoms and not worry about why they need APIS, but know when they need APIS, right?
Exactly. Yes.
That kind of thing. And it doesn't matter that somebody else needed Merc Soul. Like, they need,
Absolutely.
and while I couldn't understand why he needed aconite, I knew he needed aconite. Like, I
Yeah.
still don't know why he needed it, but he needed it for like a week, and then he didn't. And so I don't need to know that. I do wonder, though, it was really close to his birthday,
Mhm.
and he had that really hard birth. And I wonder if it was about that. I really think it was
It
about
could.
that.
Aconite is definitely one that deals with generational, like PTSD and trauma and things like that. So it
It was so
absolutely could
close
have
to his
not been.
birthday.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
very well could have been it. Yeah.
I was wondering, like, I wonder, because that was scary. Like, if I was a little person, I would have been scared.
Sure.
And I know he was scared, right? I was scared. He was scared.
Yeah.
And so I wondered about that. But anyway, then he just cleared it. And so I, so there can be some overwhelm. And I'm not saying that I haven't been overwhelmed. Like, there's been a couple times when everyone's like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And I'm like over there on my phone, right? Because I haven't
Yeah.
printed them out yet. That's my summer project. And I'm like trying to figure out which remedy it is. And I'm like, hang
Yeah.
on, but there's also, but I think that the learning curve is when you see the fruit and when you get it those couple of times, it's kind of like it snowballs on itself,
Yeah.
and it becomes something that you wouldn't trade, like
That's
you wouldn't
beautiful.
you wouldn't go back, like there's no going back now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's because feeling good is so good,
it's so good. And it's
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's just, it's relieved a lot of like pressure too, like a lot of the stuff that I really have believed about my kids. For
Mm.
instance, one of my 3-year-old, no, she's almost 4. And I don't remember if she was just clearing an acute and needed to go back to her constitutional. I don't know what was happening, but I can't remember exactly. But when she gets like this, she needs a dose, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
if I dose her, we're fine. If I don't, there's no working with it. Like it's
Sure.
just, and we went to a friend's house for a party, and I noticed like she was having trouble with one of the other babies and she wasn't sharing and she was getting worked up. And I was like, this isn't going to fix. And I thought, did I dose her before we left? And I was like, no, I didn't dose her. And I was like, excuse me a minute. And I left with her
Mm-hmm.
and took her home and got her dose. And we came right back and she had a great time the rest of the evening. Like,
No, it's
she was
beautiful.
fine.
Yep.
Walked back in and started sharing with people and like everything was fine. It would not have been that picture.
Yeah.
And, and I know that a lot of people would have been like, she's just being a bad kid or a snotty kid or, spoiled
Sure.
brat. And she wasn't. She's just working through something. Like she's
Yeah.
just 3 and needs her, I think it's camellia was what she was needing. And that, I think that's what she was on. And she just needed a dose. And then
Yeah.
she was fine. Like, and, so I love that too, because I feel like that there's less shame
Yes.
attached to everything,
Yeah.
honestly, and
Absolutely.
less fear, less shame. Um, Even with my oldest who will do that a lot, to other people, she's now starting to be like, Mom, when was her last dose? Instead of, man, she's such a bad, like, and
Mm-hmm.
getting on her, but like, does that person need something? So I
That's
feel like it's
beautiful.
turning on its head everything in our family,
Well, that's what I love. I mean, and that, man, you're totally describing the heart behind why I even name my practice Imago Dei, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people will say like you just got to trust your body and trust your body. And yes, there's a little bit of that, but it's really more trusting God's design in us.
Yes.
That God did not design us broken. He did not design us
Mm-hmm.
with these things, but generations of life have
Right.
just created these inroads in us. And so the design has gotten muddied and murked and twisted and bent
Right.
and, but the beauty of it is the design is designed to heal, and
To heal.
it's bent towards redemption and restoration. And so what I love that you're describing is like, there's less fear, there's less shame, there's more others focus. Like that's the design. We're created
Right.
not to be angry and judgmental and all these things. And yes, I'm not negating the fact that we have to take responsibility for our choices. Sin is
Right.
real and all of that. But when I've said this before, that homeopathy like clears the lens off so you can even think clearly enough to see your choices. But when you're
Exactly.
bombarded with generations of inroads of things that just affect how you see other people, how you see yourself, how you see the choices that you're making, it's like you're drowning. And so what I love is that I
Yes.
think it really teaches people as you heal to trust God's design. It's less
God's
trusting your
design.
body, it's trusting his design in
Trusting his
you.
design, right? And
Yeah,
trusting that he's moving to you towards healing, and trusting that, okay, so this is the other thing that I think, and this is something that, well, I'm just excited to see this unfold, because I'm not seeing all of this yet, but I believe that we will, right?
sure.
Because there's been some things, and I think that Isaiah 61 was very prophetic. There will be some things that my kids will do or say that they've never been exposed to, but remind either Tim or
Yeah.
I of a family member. And
Come
I've
on.
never
Yeah.
known where that comes from. And I've approached it from healing prayer. I've approached it from this other stuff. And when we went to brain balance, and she was like, some of this is generational. I was like, you got to be
Yeah.
kidding me. Like, I didn't really fully grasp that or understand that some of these personality things can
Right.
be generational.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
behavioral things can be generational. And so I feel like, and I don't know, but I was trying to get an image of this. Like, we have the Holy Spirit, and I know my kids love the Lord.
Mhm.
Like, I know they do. But it's almost like if someone someone is a runner, like we all have the ability to run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you tie somebody's arms to their sides and tie their feet together and
Yeah.
tell them to run, it's not going to happen,
That's a great example. Yeah,
right? They
absolutely.
won't be able to run, but they're still a runner. Like,
Yeah.
we still have the Holy Spirit, but if we're bound, we
Yep.
we can't produce that fruit, you know. And so you can work as hard as you want,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know, on some of these things. Like moral effort is not bad, and it's really a good thing. But
Yeah.
you can have enough moral effort in the world, and if your feet are still tied together, you're still not going to be able to run.
Yeah. Well,
Like
it totally
you're not
reminds
going
me
to
of
do good.
Hebrews 12, where it says, throw off every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles you. It's both
Right.
and. It's not just sin. It's also the
No.
things that bind you, the things
Right.
that make it difficult for you to actually, and it literally says, so that you can run the race set before
You
you.
can
And
run
that's
the race.
exactly, this is a really great example of what you were describing. The behaviors and things can be, they're not just personality traits. God didn't design people depressed. God didn't design people
Right.
angry, right? And a perfect
Right.
example of this when I'm trying to describe to people that, grief and trauma are two of the biggest root causes of all disease, and it doesn't even have to be
Right.
your own. The
Right.
perfect
That's
example
so
of this is
amazing.
like the 5 or 6 year old little girl she's an only child and the princess of the family. She's never been left with anybody. It's always mom and dad. They just all do everything together. So there's 0 chance that there's
That
been
it
any abuse in
happened.
this little girl's life, right? Well,
Right.
maybe she's 5 and she turns 6 and suddenly she's terrified of the dark and she's terrified of her daddy. Daddy can't put her to sleep anymore at night. And
Mm-hmm.
mom is so confused. And so she's talking to her mom and her mom's like, oh, it's just a phase. You went through the same thing at the same age. So did I. So did your grandma. And chances are
Right.
in
That
this same
somebody down the
family,
line.
yes, and I bet this entire family would have histories of kidney infections and UTIs
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and
Yep.
incontinence. And chances are what happened is somewhere back in the line, probably in the time where people didn't talk about things, some little girl was
Mm-hmm.
hurt or abused in the night by a male family member that was never talked about. It was
Never
never
tested.
dealt with. And it
Never.
made physical and emotional and mental inroads in there. Well, you treat this now present 5, 6 year old girl with homeopathy and it clears out and she has stopped it. She will not pass that quote unquote phase or tendency onto her kids or her grandkids
I
because she
mean, praise
cleared the
God, that's
drama.
what we want to be able to do, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's Isaiah 61. Like somebody has to say no, and
Yes.
has to say that it stops here. And I was really passionate about that when we first started healing prayer, and
Yeah.
restoring prayer. And I really wanted that. And I believed that the Lord wanted that for our family. And that's why I believe he led us to this, because it was the peace that we didn't have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
um, I still don't understand all of it, but I'm seeing it.
Yeah. The
I'm
fruit. Yeah.
seeing, and I believe that he led us to that, and that he
It's
wants
beautiful.
that, and uh, it's just because there were things like that. There were things like that were weird, that would
Yeah.
be with the kids, or that somebody would say was a behavioral problem, or somebody would say somebody was spoiled, or somebody would say, was because
Right.
of the way we were parenting, and that's not true. You
No.
know,
And how many things are we putting upon our children or even receiving for ourselves as identity things that are
right.
anything but, right?
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm excited because and still a lot of it, like I feel like, and I was saying this to Tim the other day, because we don't have any grown kids yet, right? So
Right.
we're still in that everything we're doing is by faith, right?
Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We don't know what's gonna happen. But at the same time, you kind of do, and
Yeah.
it's that other thing too. Like we are still walking by faith, but we're seeing things, and you can see the people coming out and becoming. I mean, it's just I'm excited, Barbie, and I'm
It's
so glad
so
that we
great.
that we found you. And yes, it's challenging, and yes, it's like, but any of these things are. Oh, there's a great Maya Angelou quote, and I
Uh-huh.
don't think that this is entirely, now that I'm healing in a way that's not as painful,
Sure.
because homeopathy really isn't painful like some of the other modalities.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it can be defensively simple. I think it can be painful in a different way, because it's
Yeah.
humbling and it's switching of the paradigms. Anyway, Maya Angelou has the quote that anything coming back to life hurts, right?
Wow.
And um, it's a different kind of pain. Like, we're having to address these things on the other podcast with Sylvia. Like, you're
Yeah.
having to go there, right? You're
Yep.
having to look at this stuff. You're having to face this stuff and actually not pretend it didn't happen, right?
Absolutely. Right. Yep.
Actually go ahead and feel that pain, or at least acknowledge it, or at
Yeah.
least, like, be willing to say, like, maybe it was pride that I needed to know why,
Yeah.
or I needed to have the answer or be able to fix it, or I have to understand what exactly this is doing in the body or whatever, to be able to let that go and be like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to trust, and
Hmm.
that's going to be enough for me, in this. And so yeah, we're new, we
Yeah.
haven't, not everybody's been, so this is we've got more to discover and more to, you know, see the fruit of. But I do think that if you're already listening, that was the other thing I was going to say, because
Yeah.
I do think you have to be ready. But if you're already listening to this podcast, then you're ready. Like, consider that as like you're ready.
Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
That's your thing. You're going to go ahead and do it because somehow you're here listening, right?
Yep.
And so that would be you're ready. Go ahead and jump in. Because yeah, it's not too late to start, and I don't think it could ever be too early,
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm excited for my kids with that, and I'm excited for what they're going to get to clear and how their lives will be different,
Yes. Yes.
how their kids' lives will be different. We're not going to,
Yep.
and hopefully we'll get to see all of that, but it's going to
Hmm.
be different, and there will be times when my oldest will ask me, she's like, am I going to struggle with this, with my
Yeah.
kids? And I was like, nope, I don't think so.
That's right. That's right.
We're
Absolutely.
not,
That's it
that's
right
not what we're
there.
going for. And she's like, well, I think I'm going to have a hard time. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think you're
No.
going to be past it. Like, it's not going to be like that for you. And it's not going to be like that for your kids. And, that's redemption, because my mom used to, I'm just remembering that. My mom used to, like, there was a lot of like projecting curses on, but she used to
Hmm.
say she thought I was intense. So
Hmm.
she used to like be like, you're going to have somebody just as intense as, just silly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And, but it's not like that, and
Yeah.
we don't need that kind of crazy karma brought into
Right.
the world, right? It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that.
No. Thankfully.
So
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
this is
yeah,
beautiful, Sarah. I'm so excited for what the Lord is doing in your family. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the fruit doesn't lie, and it's all over the place with what
all
he's
over.
doing and how he's equipping you. And just even, yeah, of course we want the fruit of good health, but we want the fruit of peace and joy
Peace.
and love and all of those things. And you're starting to experience that. And so I just really thank you for sharing your story with us. Like, I know it's going to bless a lot of people. And I'm just so grateful that I just pray the Lord multiplies your story and your victory, and that conviction to, of Isaiah 61:4. Lord, I'm just going to pray. Lord, I pray that you would take this episode and the restorative generational work you are doing in Sarah's family, that you would multiply it, that those who share that prophetic conviction about Isaiah 61 to see the ruins rebuilt and the desolations of many generations, Lord, we just loose that grace over them, that every realm and dimension in them, their physical, their mental, their spiritual, their emotional, they're going to see breakthrough, and they can be the ones, the generation that stands up and says, no more, we're clearing this out, and future generations are going to thrive in Jesus' name. So we just pray for that multiplication, Lord, through this episode, and we thank you. May it be received as a seed that you turn into a whole grove of oaks of righteousness in Jesus'
Yes.
name. So thank you. And I will say this, if you are interested in the course that she's seen so much great results from, you can get it on my website, imagodehomeopathy.com. It's called Cultivating a Heritage of Health, Homeopathy at Home. And you can also, if you're interested in constitutional treatment, you can schedule a discovery call on that site as well. And that's how Sarah and I met and got started, just asking questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just
Yeah.
like, and I was so thrilled that you were, I'll just say this at the end. I love how passionate you are, Barbie, about the Lord, and how that was the seller point for me, because at this point in our journey, nothing else was an option. If I didn't feel connected on every level,
Sure.
you know, it wasn't going to work, and this was, so it's just, I'm so thankful that you're doing that you're bringing this, back to Christians, and bringing it, because it needs that. We need people to do that.